X squared plus 2x minus 15. We cannot factor by distributive property again. X squared can be split up as x and x. This time we need factors of negative 15 that add up to 2. Now, if we have factors of negative 15, that means one of the numbers must be positive and one of the numbers must be negative, because a positive times a negative is the only way to multiply to get a negative number. So what are some numbers that multiply to be negative 15? Well, you could have positive 1 and negative 15, or you could have negative 1 and positive 15. You can also have positive 3 and negative 5, or you can have negative 3 and positive 5. So which ones appear to work? So let's try negative 5 and positive 3. So the inside terms would be 3x. The outside terms would be negative 5x, and those add up to be negative 2x. But we really need positive 2x, and we came up with negative 2x. So this is actually not the correct factorization. We got the 2 right, but we have the wrong number, or the wrong sign. So a quick fix on that is we've got the signs in the wrong spot. This should be a positive 5, and we should have used a negative 3. Because that means negative 3 times x would be negative 3x. 5 times x would be positive 5x, and that would add up to negative 2x. So this is the correct factorization. Next one is x squared minus 7x minus 18. You can quiz yourself by pausing the video and trying to factor that out on your own. The way you would do this problem is we can't do distributive property again, so split up x squared as x and x. Numbers that multiply to be negative 18 means we have to use a positive number and a negative number, and then add to be negative 7 could be positive 2 and negative 9. 2 times x is 2x. X times negative 9 is negative 9x. That does add up to negative 7x, so there's your correct factorization. 3x squared minus 6x minus 45. Can we factor out by distributive property? Yes. On this one we can, because there is a common factor of 3, 6, and 45. A 3 goes into 3, 6, and 45. So we're going to start by factoring out by distributive property. Remember from previous lesson is once you figure out that common factor, you divide to see what's left inside parentheses. So 3x squared divided by 3 would be x squared. Negative 6x divided by 3 is negative 2x. Negative 45 divided by 3 is negative 15. Once we factor out by distributive property, look and see what's inside parentheses, because perhaps it can factor out further into a binomial pair. And this one can, because x squared can be split to x and x. Numbers that multiply to be negative 15 would be a positive and a negative, but then add to be negative 2 would have to be positive 3 and negative 5. That multiplies to be negative 15. And you can see that when we check it out, it does add to be negative 2x. So the full factorization includes the 3. Don't forget to bring the 3 down when you do the full factorization. 2x squared plus 22x plus 56. So we can factor out a 2 by distributive property. They're all even numbers. And remember, we always try to factor out the largest number. 2 has to be the largest number that goes into 2, 22, and 56. 2x squared divided by 2 is x squared. 22x divided by 2 is 11x. 56 divided by 2 is 28. And then check to see if we can factor what's inside the parentheses into a binomial pair. So x and x. So two numbers that multiply to be 28 and adds to be 11. So let's say I'm going to try negative 14 and 2. And can I do that? No, actually I can't do that, because if I try to do a negative 14 and a positive 2, that actually multiplies to be negative 28. And remember, I'm trying to get a multiply to be a positive 28. So the signs are going to have to be the same on that. So what I should use is not negative 14 and 2. I'm going to have to use both positive numbers. And the correct answer is going to be positive 7 and positive 4, because that does multiply to be 28, but you can see that the insides and the outsides do add up to the middle term of 11x that I have in the first factorization portion of it. So this is the correct factorization. Finally, the last one is x squared plus 5x plus 25. Can we do a factorization by distributive property? They don't have common factors, so we go right to a linear pair. So again, x squared can split up into x and x. I need factors of 25 that add up to 5. So since I'm factors of positive 25 to add up to a positive number, they both have to be positive. Factors of 25, I can try 1 and 25, and I can try 5 and 5. So let's try 5 and 5. So if I put 5 here and 5 here, 5 times x is 5x. X times 5 is 5x. That adds up to 10x, but I'm trying to get 5x into my middle term, so that's not going to work. So I'm going to have to try something else here. So my only other option was 1 and 25. So if I do 1 and 25, 1 times x is 1x, 25 times x is 25x. Well, that adds up to 26x. So that didn't work either. So sometimes, no matter what you try, sometimes trinomials just aren't factorable. So you could simply say on your answer on this that it is not factorable. Or another way of describing it's non-factorable is that it is prime. Remember, prime numbers have only two factors, one in itself. The only two things that go into x squared plus 5x plus 25 is 1, and we don't factor out 1s. And then the number itself, or the trinomial itself, is a factor of itself. Therefore, by the definition of prime, that has to be a prime trinomial.